Alyss is joining us today from the UK. She is a UK singer, a producer, and a visual artist, and she's known for her distinct fusion of tribal, alternative, electronic, and ethereal soul paired with powerful and expressive vocals. Her music is amazing, and so is her artwork. From hottest record on BBC Radio 1 to composing for the London Contemporary Orchestra at Abbey Road Studios, Alyss continues to carve out her own niche, blending together a multi-dimensional world of sound, art, and esoterica. Welcome to Howling at the Moon, where the mystical meets the practical, and the canine spirit guides lead the way. I'm your host, Heather Leigh Strom. In 2022, I experienced a sudden, life-changing spiritual awakening. After a lifetime of struggling with, who am I and why am I here? For 5 decades, the world felt cold and confusing. Now I see the patterns, the purpose, and the bigger magical picture. My mission? To help you find your way through your own awakening journey. Here, you'll discover limitless possibilities for spiritual growth, powerful healing frequencies, and extraordinary energetic professionals, each designed to guide you into deeper healing and remembrance. Some episodes feature enlightening wisdom from spiritually evolved guest healers, visionaries, and authors. Others are led by the multi-dimensional canine spirit guides themselves, sharing their unique intergalactic wisdom and frequency. If you've been craving deeper truth, multi-dimensional healing, and a little cosmic magic, you've just found your pack. Listen and watch on Spotify or YouTube, and bring the magic back into your life. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Howling at the Moon. I am your host, Heather Leigh Strom, and today I have a very special guest to share with you. And today we're digging into her multi-dimensional sacred geometry, Astro code artistry. Okay, Alyss, welcome to our show. I am so excited to share you with my audience. I just have to share with everybody how I became aware of you. I was in Facebook scrolling through some sacred geometry information, and I found you. You were showcasing some of your work in one of the groups, and you do astral code artwork based on sacred geometry. And this is the piece that she did for me based on my own astrology. And I'm so excited to have this piece. It's absolutely beautiful, stunning. And when you get something that's based on your own sacred geometry, your own astrology, it really just resonates inside of you. And it's like a vibration every time I look at it. So I wanted to bring her on my show so she can share her gifts with all of you. So welcome, Alyss. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love how you just explained the feeling you got from your Astro code, because that's what the intention really is. It's like a circuit board that immediately connects and locks in with your energy field. So that was amazing that it gave you
Yeah.
that resonance. Really great.
Yeah. It was like a piece of me that was coming home.
Yeah. Aw.
The whole time it was in shipping, I was very protective of it. "Oh, please
Yeah.
arrive okay," because it's coming from so far. Because 'cause you're in the UK, right?
I'm in the UK. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm in the Rocky Mountains in the US, so that was quite a
Wow.
journey.
Yeah, she went on a an etheric road trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it actually took me, I've been making these since I mean, they've kind of been on a journey. They began as kind of just these structures and that I would draw in between making music.
Mhm.
And, a couple of years into doing them, a friend said, "Oh, could you make one? Like, could you do bespoke? Could you make one like and include my friends, a sun sign in it?" And that's what sparked the idea to start creating them based on people's astrology charts, because I already had all the esoteric knowledge and through listening and reading lots of books and that kind of thing. So it just kind of came together. But in all the time I've been making them since like 2014, I never made one for myself. So I
Wow.
always had this feedback from people, that it was activating in them and it was giving them this incredible experience. But there was something in me, maybe self-worth things, or, that pesky old thing where
Yeah.
it felt self-indulgent to make one for
Mhm.
myself. I didn't see the purpose in it. I was like, I don't need one. I just make them for everyone else. And this year I made one for myself. It's my
Wow.
numerology. I just gone into a 1 pinnacle year. It's a 1, personal year. So I thought, "Okay, this is a me year." So I
Yeah.
made one for myself, and, it's been really interesting because I've also been having those exact same experiences that you have had. When I look at it, I'm can kind of it was like, "Wow, okay, I get it now. I get what I've been creating and how it," like having that lived experience myself as opposed to just writing what other people say to me. So
Oh,
just, yeah,
that's
just open
beautiful.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
finally did it.
how long does it take you to make a piece like that?
So it probably takes in total, well, a one that's a large one, yours is a large one. So that's around 5 hours, but that's kind of
Wow.
split into segments. So I start off just, almost like a Reiki session where I have your chart, I set everything up, and I have my black notebook with a gold pen that I write down all the placements, and just
Mhm.
I kind of feel into it, and I do a bit of Reiki or just clearing on myself just to make sure I'm, a clear channel.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's around, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I sit with my hands over the paper and just I actually have started singing, and I kind of just sing to the paper, and whatever notes or tones come through, it's, intended for, or I just think that's the person coming through.
Oh,
And,
wow.
so there's this whole kind of beginning process to it. And then the pencil, I sketch it in pencil, and I'll kind of let the pencil sketch exist because that's, the bare bones, the skeleton, essentially.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
let that sit there, and I'll go through my day, but keep looking at it and just kind of feeding, the person, and connecting you guys together kind of thing. And, then the gold is really where the main kind of work comes in, because that's where the intricacy, and I do one layer of gold and then another layer of gold and color if someone chooses color, and just kind of, really add the intricate details and the thickness of the ink as well. So that's the bit that kind of is the more time consuming part, which, yeah, I'd say in total around 5 hours, it takes, because I like
Wow.
to really take my time with it, because it's such a guided process. It's sometimes hard to put into words, but I just, some people's it's like, "No, do it really quickly." Others, it's, "No, we're gonna let it breathe." And they often are the earth signs. If someone has heavy earth in their chart, I only
Mhm.
realized after, I'm like, "Oh, those are the ones that take their time because it's that, they're we want to make sure this is correct as we're coming through on the paper," Whereas more air, the gem if someone's got heavy Gemini or Aquarius, the air, I often find it comes through like, plasma, or just like pew,
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that forms the process as well, the actual elements someone's made of. Yeah,
Does that
long-winded way
have
to answer.
Well, no, I love it. Does that have anything to do with the maturity of the soul that you're reading for?
I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, I'm of the belief that we're kind of all this infinite fractal.
Mhm.
Um, I think maybe there's maybe different levels we've been through that has given us more experience in other lives, but I've started to see this idea of soul age that it's maybe not entirely accurate in terms of it's not like a linear thing,
Mhm.
that we actually exist. We all of our past lives are still existing, but we're
Yeah.
just tuned into this particular kind of life.
Yeah.
So in terms of soul age and how that comes with a piece, it could just be maybe just more how many lives are currently active, or I'm kind of just thinking on the spot, because it's a
Yeah.
really good question. It's a good question. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say that affects it because the Astro code is so based on what your energetics are saying or leading to, or it's kind of there's no past, present, future. It's just
Mhm.
all of you in one. So I
Uh-huh.
like to think, even though it's based on your astrology chart in this life, there's so many more layers involved in it. It's kind of your
Mhm.
future self pulling you in. It's your that ancestral part of yourself coming in. It's just all there underneath you like a base,
Yeah.
supporting the circuit board that is you, if
Uh-huh.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's already configured into astrology anyway, right? I mean, that's kind of how
Exactly,
astrology works. Astrology represents the whole, right?
exactly,
Not just the here and
exactly.
now, but the big picture.
Yeah, yeah, it's layers. I mean, again, we are essentially fractals. We're walking, there's no
Mhm.
beginning and end to us, just our physical form. So I
Yeah.
mean, when we look at our astrology, like the chart, I have my fractal, my fractal behind me. Uh, we see the astrology chart as this circular, 2D shape. But
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if actually it is just this, if you were to open it up like a extrusion, is that how you say it? Like a technical drawing, that it would be kind of this
Ah,
3D ever, that just is
yeah.
going in all forever.
Yeah, because we really can't see it with our eyes, our physical eyes.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, that would make sense because we're only seeing the one dimension, basically.
Exactly. We're just
There's
tuned
so
into
much
this
behind
reality.
that we can't even perceive.
Yes. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
when
you're
I'm
activating you're activating me to think about it in this way. It's really it's interesting.
oh, good. That's the way my mind works.
Yeah.
I know when I contacted you about making a piece for me, the one thing that I wanted you to consider is, especially in my situation, it's kinda unique, although we're all capable of this. It's like I have it's like I closed one life. I feel like I started a
Mm.
second life halfway through this life, and so when I asked you to do my chart, I'm like, "Please consider the next step. Consider the new part of me," because I wanted an image that I could connect with that carried my current vibration as well as, because when I think of astrology, I'm thinking of the birth numbers, the date of birth. That's the code that I came in with, but I have adopted new codes as I've gone through this life path, as I've been here
Mhm.
in this life. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be sure that that was gonna be reflected in the artwork, and you
For
had a
sure.
really good, way of comforting me in that respect. Do you remember what you said?
I can't remember exactly what I said, but I do remember thinking, I mean, what did I say to you? 'Cause I
I can't
remember it
remember.
came through. I think, 'cause immediately what
Oh, you
I'm
said there's
reminded
a
of, my
lot of evolving energies here is what I think is what you said.
yeah, well, it's our birth chart is, again, that's just our kind of entry point, but when I where the way that I approach an astro code is I always focus on, I tune into you and the multidimensionality of you. I think that's what I said.
Ah,
When
okay,
I'm
awesome.
doing that beginning part, which is just the more, like the energetic part where I'm tuning in to your energy. It's not just the birth chart. As I, explain to people, that's just a reference point. That's just the starting point, to have your birthday and place and everything. But yeah, I always intend to bring in the multidimensionality of any person, the wholeness. It's the wholeness, not just, oh, the point they were born. Because as you said, we collect so many codes as we're going, and every millisecond, it's a new moment, it's a new moment, it's a new
Mhm.
moment. And that's what I always bring that in. So I'm glad that that comforted you at the time, because
Yeah.
but I was glad that you asked, because again, it made me have to think really backwards engineer how I'm
Mhm.
creating them. And I realized, yeah, I'm not, the astrology is almost not irrelevant. It's very relevant, but it's like it's such a small part of what else is contained in an astro code, you know. So
Well, it seems like what you're saying to me is that you're not the astrology you're tapping into is more, linked to the sacred geometry. So when you add the sacred geometry into astrology, to me, I'm a total newbie in this topic. I could have it totally wrong, but it seems like it brings life to it, like
yeah. Yeah.
an evolution to the astrology.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's more so another way to speak the same language. It's almost the visual language of astrology, because um astrology is, it's really just the essence of everything. It's made of the elements, we're all made of different elements. So it's the sacred geometry is like a complementary visual part to explain astrology, because really it's maths. It's just very detailed complex maths and angles, and so the
Yeah.
geometry kind of takes it off of that data and more mathematical way, and makes it kind of blends that, uh I guess you could say, left and right brain, intuitive logical thinking. Sacred geometry is that kind of central point, you know
Mhm.
because when people look at an astrology chart, this is always a thing people have if they don't know about astrology, and you show them their chart. It's like, what does this mean? Like, you can't
Yeah.
make sense of it.
Uh-uh.
Whereas, say you look at sacred geometry, you look at your astro code, or something depicting you in a more visual way, it kind of taps into that, almost like children learn through pictures. And as adults, we're no different. We need these subjects to be broken down in a way that is visually, we can see it and we can connect more. So yeah, I would say sacred geometry it's just more a complementary visual aid to understand the astrology, let's say, if it's done in, this sort of way, like an astro
Yeah.
code.
I tell you, if I'd have known about sacred geometry when I was studying math in school, I would have been a lot more interested because I was a math major in high school, but what we were learning just didn't hold any interest for me. It felt too it felt like it just wasn't connecting into what the more that was really out there. You know, as children, we're kind of psychic that way. And I just was so bored with school. I wish I'd known about sacred geometry.
I know. Imagine. I mean, that could be the future. If I feel like
I
that could
hope.
be, maybe not
Yeah.
in our lifetimes, but of the future, that the age of Aquarius is now in. Pluto's
Yeah.
going into Aquarius. That would be such an Aquarian style school where the
Yeah.
children are learning sacred geometry and about resonance and
Astrology.
quantum astrology, and all those cool kind of Robert Edward Grant style topics.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like we're gonna be headed back that way. I'm hopeful. I'm focusing on that because that to me is the truth, and
yeah.
that to me is what helps humanity really connect to the truth beyond the illusion, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard here because we've lost that connection, but
Yeah, exactly. And I think the only way that we're gonna get there is it has to be brought back down to earth. I think science can become too, rigid in its thinking. Spirituality can get too away with the fairies. And so
mhm.
the two worlds kind of have been living in this really with this valley in between where you know they just can't seem to get on the same page, or haven't been able to. But there's so many thought leaders now that are really bridging that gap, and bridging science and spirituality. And that's really that middle road, that wu wei point, is happening very quickly, actually. And things like sacred geometry, the work of people like Greg Braden, and who's that? Bruce Lipton and
Oh,
Nassim.
yeah.
I can't remember his name, but there's and biogeometry. Biogeometry is a
Oh,
system.
yeah.
Yeah, I always wear my pendant. That system bridges spirituality and science in a way like no other. And to hear
Wow.
that so many people are learning about these things now in like big numbers, thanks to things like these Facebook groups and,
Yeah.
social media. It's that's the good thing about it. I know we were saying before, just you want to throw throw your phone out the window with all the different apps, but there's such an amazing opportunity for that kind of gap to be, not there anymore. People can
Yeah.
understand these difficult concepts and in an easy way that is going to revolutionize things, I do
Well,
believe
and
as well.
that's reflected actually in my astrology, and you even commented on that in your description that my numbers represent my ability to walk both worlds equally. So in the
Yes.
physical and the esoteric, and be able to
Yes.
balance those completely um, com- um, equally. And that's so funny because I resisted my spirituality for so long because I didn't want to be that spiritual person that was airy fairy,
Yeah.
couldn't remember anything, never showed up on time, because that was my impression of a spiritual person. So for 50 years, I'm like, nope, not going
Wow.
there. I'm always on time. I respect time. I respect space. I respect people. I'm grounded. And so I didn't think that I could step into that spiritual aspect of myself because I didn't fit that type of mold. But now that I've trusted it and I've come into it, I'm like, oh, I'm my own type of spiritual person. I can be scientific and spiritual at the same time. And so I'm
Yes.
wondering, are you seeing more numbers like that as you're doing more charts?
I would say there's such a big mix. I mean, I wouldn't say I see it, specifically. Yours is specific because you have that Aquarius Pisces. You've got that, you're that dance between bringing Aquarius science and, Pisces is spiritual together. Those are
Yeah.
when those signs are on board together, that is the middle road, really.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
Aquarius brings that detached, like you said,
Mhm.
you don't wanna be seen as airy fairy, but then
Mm-mm.
Pisces is that intuitive side. So, yeah, it's amazing
Yeah.
to have that. I mean, I do often have I notice a lot of people that order Astro codes tend to have, um, a lot of Pisces. I mean, actually, I don't know if I'm trying to think if there's a specific pattern that comes up. One thing I have noticed is not so much that there's a specific, overall, astrology chart that comes through or themes, but I'll notice that people with very similar themes will order at the same time, or they'll
Oh,
order, or like one will order after another, like the sequences that they'll have. Like one time there were so many people that ordered at the same time that had Sagittarius rising. It was the most bizarre thing that every one in a sequence had Sagittarius rising. And I was like, wow, there's something to this.
yeah.
Um, but I would say, back to your question, like I said, I'm noticing it just more in general, just seeing, you know, I think the spiritual fluffiness, as you're saying, it gets so cringy. It can be so cringy to someone that's very logically minded, even
Mhm.
if it's tapping into very real energy.
Mhm.
That's always my goal with the Astro codes. I want to be able to, explain it with no spiritual fluff. Just, this is a practical tool that connects with your energetic body, which is,
Yeah.
proven. We have a resonance, a frequency, and Astro code connects with that. So I've noticed there's a lot of people, like yourself, trying to come into that logical way of explaining these very out there subjects.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting to me. It's so exciting we can kind of, you know, bring it down to
Yeah.
earth.
Yeah, bring it down to earth and walk the middle ground with it and embrace it and yet still be very grounded. That's beautiful
Yes.
to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Alice, we're gonna take a really quick break here. Everybody stay with us. We'll be right back. We have a lot more to talk with Alice about with her sacred geometry and her astro codes. Stay right there.
Canine Spirit Guides, The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Heather Leigh Strom. We've always suspected dogs are magical angels from God. In this groundbreaking book, you'll discover the specific divine gifts our canine companions really possess as they facilitate our healing, elevate our awareness, and expand our consciousness. Man's best friend has their own spirit guides, which is why they appear in our lives just when we need them most. This award winning book, Canine Spirit Guides: The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Heather Leigh Strom, is available on Amazon.com and HeatherLeighStrom.com. Get your copy today and begin your journey.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We are talking to Alyss, who is an artist and a musician, and today we're discussing her Astro Code skills and artistry. And I found a quote on her webpage that I really want to share with everybody, that because it resonates with us, with society in today's age. So here's her quote. True spiritual freedom isn't found in seeking more, it's found in reconnecting with what's already within. Your astro code is the mirror reflecting who you truly are, guiding you back home to your core every single day. End quote. That's just beautiful. And that's so perfect. You know, so many people these days are searching for something outside of them, and what I found when I went through my awakening is that I had it all along. It was within me. Do you want to
Yes.
speak about that quote and how you came about that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's taken me a while to really refine what an astrocode is and what purpose it's serving. And that quote came about because I was really reflecting on my own journey through spirituality, which did begin, I would say, fairly ungrounded. I was listening to videos on YouTube nonstop, like all day. I was listening to energy updates and I was listening to podcasts and talks and just everything I was doing, reading loads of books and going to workshops. But I never I almost was more ungrounded. It wasn't giving me that sense of like safety in myself because it was this itch. I need to keep listening to more, like it's not enough. I don't, I still don't know fully who I am. I'm gonna, just keep externalizing my search. And after, various things that happened in my life, with difficult relationships and just mental torment, I naturally started going more inwards and just meditating more and I was humbled by life. And I
Yeah.
started to recognize that it was becoming unhealthy how much I was listening to things. And I've noticed that, people I know that have kind of started their spiritual journey, that a kind of similar thing happens where you get excited by all this new information and it's a form of discovering yourself because you start resonating on a different plane, and it's like this
Mhm.
new like toy where you just want to learn more. And there's nothing, I don't regret going on that journey, and how obsessive I became listening to the things and reading things, because there were valuable insights and things that I have helped me. But I do wish that I had, for other people, that just to kind of bypass those years spent doing that actually, it's so much more powerful when you drop into yourself.
Mhm.
So when I was thinking about astro codes and really like, what purpose is this serving? This is a piece tailored specifically for an individual person. It doesn't
Yeah.
require to read a book. You don't need to listen to a video. You look at it and you feel that activation. And I can say that confidently because I've now experienced it for myself.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling ungrounded and uncentered, before I probably would have put on an energy update, figured out what's going on, or, and for that fleeting moment, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like Mercury's retrograde, or, all of these things. And I feel that sense, but then I'm just, that feeling goes and I'm back to being ungrounded again. So I realized through having my own astro code, oh, when I look at that, I feel it's almost like these magnets or these iron filings inside of myself are all splayed and uncentered. And then I look at my astro code and there's this kind of like it's a it kind of all comes into form, and perfect form that is my form. That was
Yeah.
the only way I could explain the feeling when I first looked at the my Astro code, and that led me to, yeah, be right, thinking, how can I explain this to people? So the phrase saying, spiritual freedom isn't found from searching outside. That's a lived experience I have now experienced. My sense of assertiveness, assurance in myself, confidence has all completely shifted since looking at my astrocode every day. And I was like, is it this simple? How has it been this simple? And again, it's not to throw shade on all these other ways that we can learn about ourselves. They're so
Yeah.
important, for our discovery. There's so much we can learn from other people and their journey. But if we don't have that counterpart that is ours and just ours alone, that doesn't require another voice or another way of explaining something, it's just going to leave us in that, with our tail spin, just chasing our tail, trying to get an answer. Whereas this, brings you in. You don't need to go anywhere or go to a retreat or,
Yeah.
So that was the journey I went on to get to that point.
Well, and I love that you understood the work before you even experienced it yourself.
Mm.
You knew how to describe it to other people, but yet you
Mhm.
yourself hadn't experienced it until just recently.
Yes. Yeah. And that was all through other people's feedback. I was getting all this feedback from others. And that, when I reflect on it now, it further highlights that I see myself now. I have to, say it confidently, even though it feels weird, but I'm channeling something through. And that's why
Mhm.
it was obviously still having this effect on people, because I almost wasn't getting in the way. That's something that has always been the case when I'm creating this artwork, is I very much trust whatever comes through. I'm not questioning it at all. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
whatever's meant to be there is for the person.
Yeah.
Whereas with everything else in my life, I overthink and I worry and I, but when I'm making these astro codes, it's the most grounded feeling I will ever have, is when I'm creating these.
Wow. That's
So
incredible.
yeah, it's been really interesting and actually very healing for my own journey to make these, because of the nature of sacred geometry. It's always based on a central point. Sacred geometry itself is the definition of being centered, because everything
Mhm.
is around a central point. So
Mhm.
if we have our own piece, or just sacred geometry in general around us, it's always it's so grounding. It's so grounding to both look at, create, and experience.
Oh, it is. I'm so fortunate to have mine now. I haven't figured out how I'm going to mount it. I don't wanna put it in a frame. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't figured out how I'm gonna do that, and I am gonna have it tattooed as well. So,
Amazing.
because this is me, and I want that out in the world,
Yes.
as part of me everywhere I go, not just on my wall, not just on my phone, but I want
Yeah.
it a part of me, like in my
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, I
It's hard to
plan I'm
explain.
No, I understand, because I also really wanna get mine tattooed. I'm just figuring out where I wanna get it, because if
Yeah,
I get it on my back, then I'll never be able to see it, but then
that's how I feel.
it's like the biggest part of the body, so we'll
Yeah,
figure it out. I was thinking on my chest, but, we'll see, we'll see.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's actually another idea that, at a certain point, I would love to work with an engineer or someone that would be able to make physical astro codes, or if make an actual physical version that you could sit in your house. Like, it would
A
have to be
3D version.
a 3D version, yeah,
Yeah.
because it would obviously require some figuring out to, make
Mhm.
it into that kind of model. But I can envision so many places that this could go.
Yeah.
Um, and I also, at a certain point, I mean, I've started playing with this idea now, but I have started introducing music into an Astro code. So
I was
making a
gonna ask you, yeah.
yeah, my idea, which kind of came in a flash, because I know I have these two parts, and to this point, I haven't been able to blend music and the Astro codes together. But I've had an idea of creating a a piece of music, like a kind of ambient meditation style piece that is tuned to the frequency of your north node. The north node in your chart is where your soul is evolving to. It's the karmic path. It's the dragon's head. It's where
Oh,
our spirit is trying to get to or leading us to. It's that kind of come on. So I thought it would
yeah.
be, and I always put that at the top of the Astro code. I always put that at the top because that's the evolutionary point. Yours is in Aries with your life path number. Well, the
Yeah.
number is at the top. That's the path,
Yeah.
and then the north node behind it. So
Oh,
wherever
okay.
your north node is, that's the energy really shaping your future. So my idea
Wow.
is to create an accompanying piece of music that is tuned to the frequency of your north node sign, because
Wow.
every astrological sign is also connected to a frequency, to a note, a note within music.
Mhm.
So I was just kind of playing with that, and I've used myself as the guinea pig, and I've made a piece for myself. I just need to fine tune it, but that's something I
Oh,
want to offer as well. So someone can have this full visceral experience where they have their astro code, they can be listening to the music, and just a 10-20 minute
mhm.
loop, like you would listen to meditation music, but knowing
Yeah.
it's bespokely made for the person. So
Right.
there's many ways I'm
Oh,
like
oh,
trying
that's
to expand
beautiful. Yeah,
on the
and when
on the
you
astro
when you
code.
said that you begin humming or singing when you're channeling in someone's code, I instantly thought, "Well, are you gonna make a song out of it? Is it gonna come through as music?"
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't even think of that as well, actually. Maybe I should record. I should just record those initial
Yeah,
hummings, and that can inform.
yeah.
Heather, you're very you're making me think about these things. Yeah.
That that's how my brain works.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
There's
I
it can
that would
become a
just be
song.
so because music and we're gonna have you back again for another show about your music, but music is so powerful.
Mm,
And if you combine to me, that's the best of both worlds. If you combine the sacred geometry with music, I mean, that's the bomb right there.
yeah.
And I would totally sign up for that. So use me as a guinea pig if you want.
Use your guinea pig. And
Yeah.
also as well, what I was gonna say is, sacred geometry is really music in visual form, and music
Uh-huh.
is sacred
Yeah.
geometry in audio form. So they are,
Right.
they're
They are.
interlinked.
Yeah.
And the fact that everything resonates at a frequency at the zodiac is, you can map it out on a wheel. It's so fascinating how it can all be broken down. So it was just a
Yeah.
matter of time before, all the worlds all the worlds of what I do collide.
Yeah.
And
It's evolving, isn't it? Your craft is just evolving.
yeah, yeah. I I I can feel myself being led, forward, and it's like each day there's like a new sort of idea coming through. My issue is just, again, why I focus on grounding so much is because I'm someone that is can be so easily ungrounded, because
Mhm.
I have a lot of air in my chart, a lot of Libra. I'm Scorpio, but I have loads of Libra. So
Mhm.
that air, I have so many ideas, here, and I don't have much earth. So it's a lifelong thing for me to just, I've had to really learn to put that pole in the ground. So
Mhm.
I feel I'm a good person to learn to bring that in, because I've had to learn
Yeah.
so intensely how to remain feet on the ground.
Yeah, that's not easy for a lot of people.
No, especially in the spiritual community, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's just poetic, it's intuitive, and we flow, and we're so open to, in this world with, to new ideas and things. But the challenge is just, yeah, bringing it down.
Yeah.
And I saw a video on your channel of you going out in nature, and you were saying about
Mhm.
starting your day that way.
Mhm.
And that for me has been the best thing, is moving more near towards the forest, and just
Mhm.
making sure every day I have that contact with the earth in
Yeah.
that close way, even if it's just, floating my hands across the leaves as I as
Right.
I walk by, and it's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Nature is important and Gaia is why we're here because this is the only place we can experience her, right? So It's really important to stay connected to that. So I'm so proud of you for finding that way for yourself. It's a challenge, it really
Yeah.
is for some
It
people, especially
yes.
when you're so talented in the other realms, it's so hard
Mm.
to stay in this realm because this realm isn't so much fun all the time.
No, I just wanna be with the fairies and,
Mhm,
the elementals just dancing
mm,
around, not worrying about this, just
right,
having floaty fun, so but
right.
there's a lot, there's so much beauty in that groundedness, which I'm realizing, there's a richness that isn't always found, when we're just
Mhm,
going from one idea to the next. There's
mhm,
a rich feeling in that really working through something and, again, when I had to go through that humbling part of my life after a really, horrible relationship and, just horrible things happening, it was hard. It was hard, but it was like the something was pulling me back down into
mhm.
the earth, You're not listening, so we're gonna bring
Yeah.
you down, into that state. So
Gonna make you humble so you do listen. That's how that
exactly,
works, yeah. Make you
exactly.
surrender. Alice, thank you so much for joining us here today. Is there anything else that you would wish to share about your work with the Astro codes or about your services that you have to provide here with the audience today?
Well, firstly, Heather, thank you for having me. This has been so incredible. I feel like so many new thought patterns have have been activated. So thank you for holding the space. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if people just want to go to my website, I have so much information there about Astro codes. You can hear my music. I also offer Reiki sessions. That's a 40-minute session at distance. So you don't have to come anywhere. You can just be in your own space. And that's been really powerful. What can happen without needing to be in person, the same way
Mhm,
we can tune into us, other people. We have a random thought about someone and then they call us,
mhm.
there's space and time is just a concept. As I've
Yeah.
realized doing these sessions, the feedback that I've had and has just been incredible. So if that's something people are interested in, I'm always open for a Reiki session and it's a pleasure, so amazing for me to do that with others. Um,
Awesome. And what
and
if they want their own Astro code drawing?
And if you would like an Astro code drawing, which is, let's say it's technology. I've realized it's technology. This is something I'm, trying to word for myself or explain, but I've realized this is actually inner technology. We have our
Yeah.
phone, we have an iPad, our laptop, and that's all requires looking at a screen. But your
Mhm,
Astro code, its power button is us. When we connect
mhm.
to our Astro code, that switches it on. It switches on our inner technology. So
I love that.
just have a look at them and see how they feel for you, any of you watching, and just if you feel that calling, just reach out if you have any questions, and I'm here to answer. It's a backwards engineering process for me to figure out, but there's I think there's a big future for these, and I'd love to at a certain point teach others to be able to create them or,
Oh,
make
there's
it
another great
accessible.
idea. I love it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
it's something I'm trying to figure out how I would teach it because it's such a personal kind of process, but I'm gonna figure that out. But if anyone would like an Astro code, all the information is on my website. And this is a tool for life. This is not a random, piece of art for the wall. This is something that will carry with you for life. It doesn't need upgrades or fixing or anything. It's there, just waiting for that presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. I really appreciate this
Oh, you're
conversation.
welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And we're going to have another show with you on your other incredible talent, your music. So, everybody, come back for that second episode. For I don't know when it will air, but join us for that second part and we'll have another conversation together. All
Amazing.
righty. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, Heather. Take care.
Thank you for joining me here, everybody. If you are enjoying my show, be sure to add it to your library and share it with your friends. And then come back each week for a new episode with compelling spiritual guests or advanced energetic frequencies with the Canine Spirit Guides. If you're looking for more, check out my webpage, heatherleigstrom.com, where you can find out more information about all of my offerings with the Canine Spirit Guides. I'm Heather Leigh Strom. Remember to elevate your frequency and transform your reality. Love ya.